turn it back over to Eric and Cecilia to close out day one of ICDA's virtual scientific plenary.
And Eric, I think you're going first, right?
Yeah. So fantastic. I will say just a couple of words and then turn over to Cecilia to really close us out. But just to observe what an exciting day this was. Morning or evening, depending what time zone you happen to be in. But just purely as a scientific meeting, it was awesome. 20 amazing speakers. From Hans Klever starting us off with a breathtaking talk and so many other talks. So if it was nothing but a scientific meeting, it's a huge success. But the goal of ICDA was also for the field to increasingly be able to come together in a place to have shared vision about what's possible and what should be made possible. And the white papers and the recommendations that were written over the course of the year and released in the summer, it's clear already, are serving as an intellectual nucleating force. All of us are working on specific problems, but I'm hearing again and again the commonalities emerging. And I just smile when I hear people thinking, saying, well, it's not possible to take on, all of that with the implicit yet attached to it. But it probably will be, or much of it. And it's really exciting. And finally, I just want to thank Naomi Ray for both her kind words about the white paper, but more importantly, her complaints about things that have to be changed in version 2, because that's what ICDA is about. So I'm hoping Naomi is going to write the section on really embracing nonlinearity and complexity, because ICDA is a living, breathing community. And this is our first meeting after having put forward the full white paper and recommendations. And I think it's living and breathing really well. Anyway, Cecilia, my colleague, partner, and friend in doing this crazy thing, would you, I turn over to you for the closing remarks.
Thank you. And I just want to echo that I'm so thrilled by this first day. I'm really impressed and also inspired by all the amazing work that you guys have presented here today, and also by the breadth of membership that has been represented. I was breathtakingly inspired by Hans Klever's work, but also really seeing how the MAPS component is starting to take shape, the genetic discovery work becoming more diverse and expanding, so we get fuller allelic ranges of risk variants predisposing to diseases and traits, but also expanding efforts for more representative maps over a range of ancestries. And I'm excited that we're going to hear more about that tomorrow. And following on from that, the efforts to tackle mechanisms, which we have just heard now, tying effector genes to risk variants in large-scale unbiased screens, like Anna talked about, building cell type specific directed regulatory networks that Luda presented, looking at new methods for assessing single cell RNA sequencing in pooled genetic perturbation screens, V2F efforts, machine learning techniques for how to predict and use this data so we can sort of infer more information from the experiments that we're doing than we've actually generated. And also importantly to medicines, because we should remember that at heart we have an aim to really sort of try to get to treatment and better treatment solutions for common complex diseases, where we heard from our eminent pharma council with Sally and Unur, Judy and Mark, discussing polygenic risk score and biomarkers and how to fold that into trials. Discussions about trial work where Rory Collins, who's a member of the organizing committee, shared some interesting aspects of what to think about when you're trialing, which I think was really important. And also from BJ showing some really exciting examples for how you can go from maps to mechanisms in his blood disease work. So overall, I want to take the opportunity to thank all the speakers for their amazing talks and for giving up their times, spanning such a wide range of disease expertise and also interest and technical expertise, and for all the moderators for giving up the time to guide us through the discussions. It's really clear from listening into the discussions today that we have an engaged and active community, and now is really the time for a collaborative effort like ICDA, so we can really accelerate progress. And we have seen it exemplified over and over here in the different talks, like Eric just mentioned. And it was really interesting, for instance, here in the mechanisms discussion, where Anna and Jesse discussed how ICDA can take advantage of existing cell types and assays and toolkits, that are available in various labs, and sort of amalgamate that knowledge into networks and systems biology approach. And I think that sort of embodies for me what ICDA is all about, like coming together and building a unit that is stronger than each of its components. It's also clear from the discussions that having a wide range of stakeholders, from pharma to academia, from wet biologists to technology developers to clinical trialists and statisticians present, will get a really important depth in the discussions and the questions to answer that we wouldn't have if we all came from the same sort of background and the same sort of echo chamber. So I think we should do really well in challenging ourselves to really listen to what people that are outside our own comfort zone are saying. That's where we learn the most. We have a really exciting and challenging scientific ICDA year ahead of us, where I think that many of the recommendations will really start to come together and deliver insights. I remain hopeful that after a very difficult time globally, which Eric mentioned when he opened, that we are at the dawn of vaccines that seem to work, and hopefully we can combat this pandemic so we can resume to what will likely be a new normal. Maybe we will travel less. I do miss meeting face to face. I hope I get to see you face to face sometime soon. But we should embrace next year with hope and togetherness at heart. And I'm, for one, excited to see what it will bring, not only over next year, but for the years to come in this setting. So at last, I also want to thank Brian for his AV support and guiding us through this, and Rachel, our eminent executive director, and her team, Amy and Kate. Without this meeting wouldn't have been possible, and they have tireless effort and provide so much support for all of us. I want to just finish quickly with saying we have a fantastic day ahead of us tomorrow. You will note that we're swapping time zones in an effort to accommodate different time zones because, as Rachel and Eric mentioned before, we have 6 continents to try to cover, and it's not always challenging. I'm sitting in the pitch black Oxford with a very strong lamp in my face. And we look forward to you joining tomorrow for continuously groundbreaking work being presented and for discussions how to best move ICDA forward. So we're going to reconvene tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and 1 p.m. GMT, which is here in the UK. I'm not going to read out all the time zones because that's going to bore you. But I will close out with a thank you, and I will hand over to Rachel for final housekeeping remarks.
Thank you so much, Cecilia and Eric, and again, all of our speakers and our panelists and our audience members. I don't have much to add to what Cecilia just said. I do hope that you'll be able to join us tomorrow as it's possible within your time zone, because I think that Cecilia is absolutely right that we are going to have an excellent day 2 of this virtual scientific plenary. Thank you so much for joining us.